My name's Steve Crum. I'm the Executive Director of COVESA, and we are very pleased to have each and every one of you here. I know it took a lot of effort to get out from behind your screens that you've been glued to for the last 2 years and get back on the road. I'm sure over beer tonight we'll have lots of travel stories about what went wrong and how much of a hassle it was, but hopefully you'll enjoy your time here over the course of the next 3 days. So I'm going to be sort of the moderator for today and hopefully can keep the ball rolling, keep on time. We have a lot of great presenters today and panel sessions, and but I wanted to start out by just again welcoming all of you here and giving you a little bit of a brief overview of COVESA, formerly Geneva Alliance. Some of you may know Geneva much better than COVESA, and so we wanted to take a little bit of time between my intro and Matt's keynote coming up here to introduce you to COVESA as well. So with that, we'll get started. Theoretically, there we go. So first of all, as always, we are so grateful for our event sponsors, Genesis, Renesis, and Tuxera. You'll see them over the course of the next several days, and especially tomorrow evening during the mini showcase that we'll have. But if you see anybody from these organizations, thank them for buying you beer tonight and tomorrow, or wine, or whatever your pleasure is. But we are so grateful to have these organizations as faithful sponsors to offset some of the costs to our event here. So thank you for that. And thanks to our team. Some of you have never met some of these people. You've been COVESA or Geneva members for many years, and you've never met some of these people. Now everybody, I think, in the world has met Mike Nunnery. If not, then you will soon. Mike wasn't able to make this trip this particular time, but Mike is our business development manager, and he also works well on the showcases and events in the U.S., and he sends his apologies for not being able to make it, but he's a key part of our team. Behind the scenes, Nicholas Contino is our IT manager. He keeps the wiki and website and other things alive and active. In the middle there, I have two colleagues from my organization, Inventures, that serve as the finance coordinator and the help desk and membership coordinator. So membership renewals, new memberships, and help desk questions are handled by these two ladies, and they do a great job. You probably met Karen on the way in as our event manager. She does a great job working with the hotels and preparing for these events. And then, of course, Tracy Renner, also an Inventures colleague. She is branding and social media activities. So anything you see on LinkedIn and Twitter and so forth normally goes through Tracy's hand. Great team, love every one of them. They do a lot for this organization. None of them are full-time, and a lot of them give above and beyond the effort. So really appreciate them and wanted to give visibility to them in front of this audience. New to the team is Paul Boyes, and Paul just joined us January 1st. Paul, raise your hand. Okay, Paul's right there. Welcome, Paul. Paul is our community director, and he came to us from INRIX, has a great depth of understanding about vehicle data and usage of that data, and we felt that was a great fit for where we're headed with COVESA, VSS and VSC, and all the things that you'll hear about over the course of the next 3 days. So introduce yourself to Paul, and he's a musician that has, how many guitars do you own? Many. More than his wife wants him to. Let's put it that way. So Paul is a musician, and but also a man of many talents, and so please say hi to Paul, and again, welcome Paul to the team. The next topic is our most valuable contributors, and it wasn't hard to pick out who our MVCs were going to be this year, or for this particular AMM. For those of you who aren't familiar, we have a recurring part of our AMM where we recognize individuals who have really gone above and beyond the call of duty to contribute to the success of COVESA, to its projects, to its activities, and so forth. And it really wasn't hard to pick these out, and I want to introduce you to them one at a time and ask them one at a time to come up on the stage. So the first one is Philippe Robin. So Philippe, come on up. So Philippe, congratulations for being a most valuable contributor.
Thank you.
And we literally pulled Philippe away from his boat to be here, and so it took tremendous effort to do that. Theoretically, we have a plaque for you, which is somewhere between Paris and here on some random KLM flight, which belongs to Karen. Otherwise, we would be handing it to you, taking pictures and that sort of thing, but we will make sure that we get the address of your boat and send it to you, but maybe just a couple of words.
Yeah, this picture was actually taken in San Diego a long time ago. It was a Genevieve all-member meeting, and I was steering a 12-meter JI, you know, the biggest one, before the catamarans, okay? And we had fun together with another gentleman that will show up soon. And I can see many new faces, which is very good. I can see, of course, some very known faces. And I would like to thank Genevieve Board, and
COVESA.
and COVESA Board.
Okay.
And COVESA, because I joined the previous program more than 10 years ago. Okay, yeah. So it was a long-haul business with these guys. And I hope COVESA will be very successful in this new endeavor about connected vehicles. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Philippe. So we do have a second individual, and no surprise, it's Gunnar Anderson. So come on up, Gunnar. So Gunnar and Philippe were sort of head-to-head as PMO lead and technical lead. And Gunnar actually started as technical resource to Genevieve at the time from Volvo Cars, and he helped us get to where we are today with VSS and CVII and all the other acronyms that you'll hear this week. Wouldn't be a tech conference without acronyms. So, but we appreciate Gunnar greatly, and so Gunnar, maybe say a word or two.
Thank you. Okay, I have not prepared for this. I just want to say I hope you will have a great conference. As Steve indicated, a lot of the projects that are being discussed are ones that I've been very much part of pushing forward in the last few years. And so they're very important to me, and I would be very happy to answer any questions or give you any support that I can this week. And I hope we'll have a great conference together. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Gunnar. Okay. So, overview of the week. Here's where we can, kind of hyperlink to the event program, but many of you have already seen the program many times, and so let me just describe a little bit of what's going to be happening over the course of the next 3 days. This afternoon we have several panels, and the important thing about the panels, I think it shows based on some of the titles that Genevieve, before COVESA, was very much a technically driven organization. And when we last year began to think about rescoping and recreating Genevieve as COVESA, one of the decision points we made was, are we going to be just a technology alliance, or are we going to be a business and technology alliance? And we made that decision that we wanted to have opportunities to address business-related topics, because after all, technology, if it doesn't fit into a business context, is just technology. A very wise man told me that one time, Mr. Smethurst. So anyway, so we do have some panels that are actually going to be talking about business models, business approaches, business contexts in the industry, and so forth. And so I'm looking forward to those discussions. We have an OEM panel right after the keynote about the future of connected vehicles. We'll be talking a lot about connected vehicles, connected services, and so forth throughout today and into tomorrow. At the end of today, we'll also refresh everybody on some of the activities of COVESA right now, the projects that are going on, and some of the project leads will be getting up and sharing a little bit about where they're at in their project activities, as well as how they're going to use the rest of the week in terms of workshops. Tomorrow morning, we have a series of sort of more business or industry-related topics in panel or keynote format. And then we'll also launch some other activities in parallel, which are largely continuation of our technology activities in the automotive, Android Automotive SIG, and other activities that are going on in Geneva, or excuse me, COVESA. Okay, so we need a bottle somewhere that whenever I say Geneva, I have to put a euro. Okay, and no, don't do that. I'll go broke. Okay. Anyway, sorry, COVESA. Stay on it, Steve. COVESA. But by the way, I forgot that at the end of today we will have a mandatory reception with free drinks and light appetizers and so forth. So please make sure that that you make that. Tomorrow, again, start out in the morning with some business and trend-related talks. Also factor in a parallel tech session with technology activities. And then tomorrow night we'll have a larger reception, what we will call a mini showcase. Normally that showcase has 15, 20 tables that are taken by COVESA members to show their demonstrations and talk about their products. It's sort of the marketing and buyers and sellers network time of our typical AMM. Marketing teams are still coming out of their shells with doing things, and so we didn't have a lot of takers for this particular AMM, but we'll have a few tables that you can talk to, individuals that you can talk to from member companies, and we'd welcome that tomorrow evening. And then Thursday, we will have mostly technical sessions and activities around our Common Vehicle Interface Initiative, which we'll talk a little bit about here this afternoon, and several tracks or several activities there. There's a couple of the program committee did a great job putting together this program. But there were two topics in particular that we felt like we needed to do in a completely virtual context, simply because the majority of the individuals that we wanted to speak were unable to make it here. They weren't Europe-based, they were US or so forth based. And so there's the in-vehicle payment and EV charging workshop will be completely virtual. Of course, all of you are able to jump into that, but it won't be in a room, in person, it'll be all virtual. And similarly, the in-vehicle payment and cybersecurity team activity will be completely virtual. And that information, the link to that is all in in the agenda, and you can go to those if you'd like in parallel to the on-site sessions. So that's a brief overview of the week. What I wanted to close with was, this is what I call my 1+3 slide, and you'll understand what 1+3 means as I begin to build it. The one is a very happy face that you all are here. Because there were periods of time, maybe when Russia invaded Ukraine, when we were like, are we really going to make this work? And is this really going to be something that anybody's going to want to come to? And I look around the room and I'm just so glad that you're here. I would love to be in a room 2 or 3 times this size with full, with all the seats full. And I was telling somebody earlier, the metaphor that I've been using for this event, and it's not just me, it's been a team effort, but it feels like we're rolling a snowball up a hill, right? And I know it's not snow period of the year, but rolling the snowball up the hill, and it's a lot of work. It's taken a lot of effort, and we've had to convince people, and hey, it's a good reason to come here. But the idea of rolling the snowball up the hill is what happens when you get to the peak. It goes down the other side, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so the work that we're doing right now is rolling that snowball up the hill, getting people back in the mode of being together safely, and encouraging participation and getting together in a face-to-face context. But my hope is that by the time we do our fall all-member meeting, in the October timeframe, that snowball will have gone over the peak and is growing, we'd be much bigger than we are right now. But again, quality audience today. I love the fact that everybody's here, and I really encourage you to take the time to get to know each other. So that was my one, now my three. These are the three key messages that I wanted, and some of us wanted to impart to you about COVESA, all right? How is it similar or different than Geneva? And that was purposeful to say Geneva, so I don't have to contribute a euro there. But one of the main things that we talked about when we sort of evolved Geneva to COVESA was the fact that we really want to emphasize the nature of being a member-driven organization, right? We've had part-time resources like Gunnar and Philippe and myself and others who have been sort of carrying a lot of the load of the organization in the past. But in order to produce a really sustainable organization over time, member volunteers, member contributors, organizations interested in what we're doing is really key. And so Matt's gonna talk a little bit more about this in detail in his keynote, so I won't go any further, but this is message number one. We are a member-driven organization. The second message is that we're also an open door. We're an open door to your projects. We're an open door to your ideas. COVESA will always have an open door for anything that a member wants to talk about. Because you want to talk about it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to blossom and we're going to be able to go out and find 10 other organizations in COVESA that are just really interested in that, but we may be able to take your ideas and grow them. The phrase I've been using is that your ideas, members' ideas, are our greatest asset, right? They're the starting point for us to be able to gather other member companies around those ideas and produce new projects. And so we're an open door to your ideas, whether it's a business-related context or whether it's a technology-related context. Both are welcome. And the other benefit of this picture is that the sky's the limit. Okay, when you have ideas, the sky's the limit on where COVESA can take those ideas. And so that's the combination of that particular message. And then the final message, which again Matt will articulate a little bit more, is that we're not an island. And what I mean by that is that we're a team purposefully, we're a team of one organization of other organizations, of a network of other organizations. And what I mean by that is that if you think about connected vehicles, if you think about vehicle data, if you think about software-defined vehicle, all the things that are being discussed in COVESA right now, COVESA is not going to be able to solve all of the challenges and produce all of the necessary open solutions that the industry is going to need to be successful in all of those areas. We must learn how to team with other organizations. And so we'll be talking later on about liaisons and about how we're working with, have already been working with W3C and other organizations, standards bodies, and even regulators to ensure that we're working as a team. So 1+3, glad you're here, member-driven, open door, and then a network or a team and not an island. So those are my three high-level topics, and again, Matt's going to go into more detail shortly. So with that, I'm going to introduce Matt. Matt, come on up. Matt's our chairman and president of not the Geneva Alliance. That's worth 10 euros right there. Wow, that was an oversight. Sorry, Matt. So I'm going to give you that and have a good time.
We'll see you in 20 minutes.
Yep, sounds good.
The next one.